Okay. Welcome again, and yeah, I will give some update on what is happening in Qubes, what we are working on, and what's in the near future. So first of all, I will give some updates about Qubes 4.2, which is a current stable release, and then plans for the Qubes 4.3, what is happening. 4.2, we just released the third point released this week on Tuesday or Wednesday, like a moment ago. With this release, there are not many changes, but there are some updates, especially to the kernel version, necessary for the Nova Custom laptop, that is the new certified hardware. There is some work in progress on Fedora 41 template. Fedora 41 is currently in beta, if I remember correctly. So there is no official release, so there is also no official template yet. But we are on a good track to have the official template very shortly after official Fedora release. We'll see. And also many of the improvements, many of the fixes that are coming into Qubes 4.3 are being backported also to 4.2. This includes some of the fixes to the user interface, some simplification, some better messaging. For example, one of the things is real-time information in the updater, so you can better follow what is going on, and what is it downloading updates, or is it already installing, and stuff like this. Anything that is not like strictly compatible is not going to be backported, but some of the improvements we try to give them to users quickly. Yeah. So in the for Qubes 4.3, we have several points here. The main topic, I would say, is new device API, device workflow. A large part of this assigning devices is being rewritten, or I should say it was already rewritten. This allows better managing of all kind of devices. Is it USB device, block device, PCI device, some audio, video input, all kind of devices. We have more info. I will have separate slide on that. There are some Qrexec improvements. There is something about Qubes Air also in a moment. So there are a lot of things, and as usual, update the Zen version and DOM 0 to a more recent distribution. So for these devices, there is a new concept of required devices that you need for the VM to work. Previously it worked quite well for PCI devices, but not any other kind of devices. Like if you had an external disk you use in a Qube, that was quite tricky to get it right. So we have this improved. We have more metadata about devices, so it's not just some device ID which was not even stable. So if you have two USB sticks connected, the ID was different depending on the order in which they were connected, so it was quite inconvenient to work with. So now we have two concepts One is the device port ID, which is where the device was connected to which place, and the other is self-identity, which is more like what this device claims to be. So yeah, and also we are experimenting with some auto-attaching of devices. This is something that will not happen automatically, but you can enable, like, if I plug this particular device to this particular port, it should automatically connect to some specific cube or something. We are experimenting with that. We'll see. Yeah, so more details on that. We will have separate presentation about. Piotrek is main developer of this feature, so he will tell more about this. Qrexec policy using UUID. This is, I would say, small, technically small change, but I think quite important, because when you create some policy for Qrexec that this cube can, I don't know, send file to other cube or connect to something, normally those policies are based on name, and you can create a cube with a given name, then remove it, and then create again with the same name, and those policies would still apply, which may be what you wanted, but maybe not. Especially in case of disposable cubes, which are this and some number. This number is, we have some code that checks if it wasn't recently used, like for, I don't remember exactly, a week or something, but it's not guaranteed to be unique forever. So if you had some rules for some disposable cube, if a new cube would exit with the same name, the old rules would still apply. We solve this with UUID, which is guaranteed to be unique, like forever. This and the other addition, where we can put extra, we have some extra directory for policy rules, which gets automatically removed after the system restart. So you can have some policy rules that works only until you restart your system. So you don't have to, like, remember to clean up something. Next reboot and all stuff is gone. Yeah, so this is something that is already no, it's not merged yet. I don't remember, but it's already implemented. And kind of related, we have some update on Qubes Air. This is a concept that Joanna announced in 2018. It's 6 years? 6 years ago, so quite some time. Not much was happening in this topic for a long time. There was a proof of concept of some part of that in a hackathon on Qubes Summit 2 years ago, I think. But yeah, not much was happening. So we are coming back to this idea, and we have some progress to share. We selected subset of that design and decided, oh, okay, let's try to implement it. We will have some separate presentation about more details, but what we selected is a specific use case that you have two Qubes machines and you want to do Qrexec calls between them. For example, copy file from one cube on one Qubes OS host to another cube on another Qubes OS host, which currently, without something like this, is not very convenient, I would say. You could use, I don't know, USB sticks or some cloud service, like upload to the internet and download on the other host. It's not convenient at all. So we are going to improve this workflow, and there will be a separate presentation how this will work and how this can be extended to other use cases. As usual, there are a lot of UX improvements. Marta will give more update in the next presentation about that. So there's template manager. This is very interesting thing, because we've got this the current template manager. It's one of the Google Summer of Code project. It was quite successful, I would say, but the graphical interface for that tool is not very intuitive to use. So this is going to improve in Qubes 4.3. And there are also several other smaller stuff. Like I said, there will be a separate presentation with more details. This is a thing about Qubes Windows tools that a lot of people are asking about. So there was we had Qubes Windows tools before. They used Zen PV drivers that were built by Zen project, and they were signed by Microsoft. It worked quite well. But then there was some issue with apparently with those drivers, and they discovered that the build host that they used for building those tools was not very trustworthy, and they decided to recommend to not use those binaries by anybody. So that could be easily solved by simply building the drivers ourselves and asking Microsoft to sign them. If not, one tiny detail. In the meantime, Microsoft changed the rules for signing drivers, so the old approach was not possible anymore. And the new requires quite some work. We are working on that, but this will need some time. So, yeah, there are some updates on that. We decided, okay, so let's build our the drivers ourselves and try to go through that process. But until then, we will have we'll go back to the state where you need to accept that drivers are signed by some third party. It's quite scary warning, but yeah, what we can do. But also at the same time, we are doing a lot of updates to Qubes tools, especially GUI agent for new Windows. So you will have some individual windows from individual applications, as you can do on Linux, also in Windows 10 or newer. Yeah, there are some more updates like GUI domain support, which wasn't the case previously because old Windows tools used old API for this GUI protocol, which didn't support GUI domain. So there are more changes to the improvements to user visible features, but also there are some for developers. Especially this is using a new Qubes builder, and new Qubes builder has a concept of executor. So what actually is used for building? You can use a disposable cube, you can use Docker image, but we discovered that it's not that hard to also have a disposable Windows cubes for building Windows stuff. Previous tools, Windows tools, were built on Linux using cross-compiling to Windows, which surprisingly worked for the small part we used, but it doesn't really, it's not very reliable, especially if we build all the PV drivers now. So we need to build Windows tools on Windows now, but we can do that with new Qubes Builder. So yeah. So when it's coming, currently the actual PV, the Windows tools and PV drivers, they are quite ready, I would say. We are, or Omeg specifically, is working on finalizing the integration and installer. So it's because also there's we jumped with PV drivers version like 2 or 3 years ahead, because we used very old version before. So there are quite some changes, and yeah, the installer needs a lot of updates also. I'm not sure if it will be possible to update, like if you have old Windows installation with old Windows tools. I'm not sure if it will be possible to update to the new Windows tools version. This is getting install the old version and install the new version, or in some cases reinstall the Windows. Unfortunately, we'll try to do something about that, but it's we don't promise anything here. Next thing is Trenchboot based on Anti-Evil-Maid. We will have some separate presentation on that, but generally the plan is that because the current Anti-Evil-Maid is very old and not really maintained, and it's using some components that are not maintained anymore. So we are together with FreeMDeb working to get this supported again on new hardware. Especially AMD support is coming, for, hopefully, and also UEFI systems. This is a huge topic because there are a lot of differences between, especially in the boot process relevant to Anti-Evil-Maid, between legacy BIOS and UEFI. And there are a lot of challenges, but we hope to get Anti-Evil-Maid compatible with UEFI systems finally. Yeah. So there are 2 main parts are in one is in bootloader in Grub, and the other is in Zen. The Grub part is completed. It's already included in our version of Grub. The Zen patches are in very final stages of review. I will do that. Simon, how far are we?
Yeah, as you said, final stage.
Final stage. Okay. Okay, so there will be a separate presentation about Anti-Evil-Maid and Trenchboot. Okay. Another thing, faster disposable cube startup. If you are using disposable cubes a lot, the few seconds you need to wait for it to start is annoying sometimes. So we have a solution. This is the plan that is that was written in some of the GitHub issues for a long time. This may be one of the oldest issues, but the plan is generally to start those disposable cubes early and keep them keep some pre-started disposable cube around. It may be simply running without any application, or be a cube that is started but is paused. And when you need a new disposable cube, we can take this one pre-started one, and just run the application you requested. We had something similar in earlier Qubes version, I think Qubes 2.0 or something like that. We started disposable cube and then dumped its content, suspended it to disk. It worked, but it was not very reliable, and it was not compatible with having multiple CPUs in a VM. So it was those disposable cubes always had only one vCPU. There was some limitation in the RAM size. So yeah, that was unreliable. So we at some point went back to like starting from scratch a VM, but we have we'll try to get a faster disposable startup again. This time with proper like normal startup keep, but do it early. Just some side note, there is a feature in Zen that you can start a VM and then clone a running VM, so basically like VM forking, and the feature is called. It sounds like it would be nice idea for this feature, but unfortunately this feature is not designed for like long-running VMs. It's only feature for some fuzzing, and VM that is cloned from another running VM cannot really survive that long. There are some missing parts, like I think it loses access to all the devices, for example, which is not great. Yeah, so if somebody finds, oh, there's this feature that would be perfect, yeah, it looked like it would be perfect, but actually it's not. And also there would be a risk of sharing too much data. For example, the pre-started disposable cube had some random seeds or some temporary keys generated or something. If you fork that VM, like clone the running VM, those would not be secret anymore. Like they would be shared between different instances. So that would be bad. So unfortunately, no. Yeah. The next topic I have is GPU acceleration. This is a very complex topic because GPU are very complex devices, and they're focused mostly on performance of the rendering stuff or computing stuff. There is vendors here have a lot of incentive in making it faster, but not that much incentive in making it secure, or in some cases easy to virtualize. In some cases, they even have the incentive to break virtualization on some low-end devices, NVIDIA. So yeah, virtualizing the GPU is very tricky topic. But we've done, I should say DEMI specifically, extensive research of different solutions that are used for this. And we have some ideas how to do that that would be kind of acceptable for Qubes OS threat model. The initial version, yeah, so we try to reuse some projects that are doing something similar and try to pick the best possible solution security-wise that is still going to be maintainable. Because there are some solutions that are, for example, very specific to a very specific GPU model, and other are not supported, and you would need something completely different for other GPUs. So that's not going to work. But we try, we've looked like we could use VirtIO GPU as a transport layer for sharing graphical buffers with GPU and all the data to avoid copying in from RAM to GPU and back and forth. So this is one example, or native context that for isolation that provides some level of protection and is actually going to be supported like security boundary. One of the criteria we use for selecting those technologies is what other projects are using and what other projects are supporting, especially in the context of security support, because we don't want to maintain our own GPU acceleration framework. This is a huge topic that like huge companies are working specifically on this. We are a very small team, so that's not realistic. So we took a look what is used in Chrome OS and also Chrome browser, in some other projects that are providing GPU access to untrusted context, untrusted some code, and this is the solution we currently decided on. There are a lot of missing parts. Some of them are in development by other projects, some of them are in development by us. For example, the proxy for Wayland protocol. This is also something coming as a side effect. Currently, we have our custom GUI protocol, which is translated on both sides to and from X11, and it works. But adding GPU acceleration to that would be rewriting a lot of code that is already written for Wayland into our custom GUI protocol. And contrary to X11, the Wayland implementation actually at least tries to isolate stuff. It's not like in X11 every application can do anything. So this is something we are trying to adapt. We'll see. This plan is not set in stone. It can still change. We are exploring with like playing with the ideas and preparing some proof of concept and trying whether all this works together. We'll see. Some parts of that may come to Qubes 4.3, most likely not all of that. As I said, that's a lot of work, and we have also some dependencies of third-party projects, so we'll see. And if you would like to learn more about technical details, there was a presentation at Zen Summit this year from Demi, where she went quite deep into the details. And finally, we have some community. A lot of community projects are quite active. So, for example, tool for distribution upgrades for a template. So when the new Fedora version is available, you will be able to upgrade it to the new version, hopefully automatically. We'll see. Or maybe better backups using Wing Backup with support for incremental backups and much faster backups than the current version. And there's a lot of small contributions. It looks like somebody, a few people had quite some time during summer period, and there was a time where I've got more pull requests from external contributors than from our team. It was quite interesting. And looked at statistic, Ali was specifically active and still is quite active. So, yeah. I'm very grateful. It's a lot of good work there. And a lot of small annoying issues that are, each of them is very easy to fix, but there are a lot of them and nobody had time for select and work on that. So yeah, very good work. Yeah, so that's the main points for the update. There are obviously a lot of smaller things coming, but yeah, main topics are here. Are there any questions?
No questions on chat.
Okay.
regarding Trenchboot.
Uh-huh.
What you can say that already works from your perspective?
That's a very good question. I've tried the older version of the patches on Qubes 4.2 and Trenchboot, like whole boot process on legacy boot worked, and all the PCRs were extended, etc. So the legacy boot workflow worked. I've heard some issues with some later change. There were we'll see. And there is one more thing, problem, I'm not sure, that you are probably not aware yet. So the patches were prepared on Zen 4.17. We are updating to 4.19. So there will need to be a rebase. I hope it will not be that complex. And the same applies also to grab, actually. We are keeping old version of grab right now.
2.06. Next
yes.
question.
Yeah. Yeah, so there will be some work, but yeah. Some of the legacy boot work worked already.
Please.
Just wondering if you had ideas about Windows templates.
Yes, there are, technically it should work even right now. In practice, there are some problems with what Windows assume should survive the reboot and what should be private or not. For example, if you connect your Windows VM to Active Directory, it generates some private key. And currently, if you use templates, this private key would be shared with different app VMs, and it's bad because it should be private, really. So there may be some security implications if you use Windows templates, but technically, if you don't have different trust levels between different app VMs based on the same Windows template, it should work with the current Qubes tools.
Last question, please.
Yeah, also short, we heard in the introduction that there are like these a lot of different salt configurations around, and I wonder if there is like any plan or idea to implement that in more like the GUI to like kind of choose, for example, during install, I want not the basic setup we now have, but I actually want the journalist setup or...
Yes, so this is something we have discussed before. There is, Marta also prepared some time ago a proof of concept of the interface for that. Yeah, you did that.
Okay.
I've seen it, but this is something that like followed the current development and was kind of abandoned due to like higher priority work. So yeah, we would like to come to this topic again at some point, but we need somebody like to drive this discussion and design. Yeah. Thanks.